If you knew there were 7 rules, 7 unshakable principles that could take any dream in your heart and pull it into your reality, would you use them? Most people walk through life hoping things will change, wishing for a breakthrough, waiting for the perfect moment. But breakthroughs aren't given to the lucky. They're created by the aligned, the intentional, the unstoppable. Tonight, I want you to stop hoping and start claiming, because the life you want isn't out there somewhere. It's waiting for you to step into the version of yourself who can receive it. And these 7 rules will take you there. When it comes to manifesting anything you want, the first rule, the foundation of everything, is getting crystal clear on what you truly want, not what you think you should want, not what your parents, your friends, or society told you is reasonable. I'm talking about the desire that lights you up from the inside, the thing that makes your heart beat a little faster when you imagine it becoming real. Most people never manifest anything meaningful because they never take the time to declare with absolute certainty what they're actually moving toward. Clarity isn't a luxury, it's power, it's direction. It's the signal you send out to life saying, this is who I am and this is what I've chosen. Think about it, you can't hit a target you can't see. And most people wander through life with blurry goals, foggy dreams, and vague desires. They say things like, I want to be happy, I want more money, I want success. But what does that actually mean? How much money? Doing what? By when? What kind of success? For whom? Why? When your vision is vague, your energy becomes scattered. When your energy is scattered, life doesn't know what to respond to. But the moment you take that desire out of the shadows and say, this is it, something shifts, your mind recalibrates, your emotions lock in, your behaviors start to align almost automatically. Clarity engages the subconscious mind. It activates your focus. Suddenly, opportunities you used to overlook become visible. Your brain starts filtering the world differently. It's the same phenomenon that happens when you buy a new car and now you start seeing it everywhere. Those cars didn't just appear out of nowhere. You simply tuned your perception. The same thing happens with your dreams. Once you define them clearly, your internal radar begins scanning for alignment. You start noticing people, ideas, resources, and possibilities that were always there, but you weren't tuned into them. And clarity isn't just about the what, it's about the why. Your why is the emotional ignition. Without a strong why, the vision fades when life gets tough. With a strong why, nothing can stop you. When you know exactly why you want something, why it matters, why it must happen, why settling is no longer an option, you unlock a level of internal drive that feels almost unstoppable. You stop waiting, you stop hesitating, you stop bargaining with your potential, you move with intention. So ask yourself right now, what do you really want? If no one judged you, if no one doubted you, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you choose? Let yourself go there. Let yourself feel it. Let the image sharpen. You don't manifest by playing small. You manifest by daring to name your truth. Your vision only becomes real when you're willing to say out loud or on paper, this is the life I'm creating. Choose the destination and life will reveal the path. But the destination must come from you. Don't rush this. Sit with it. Refine it. Let it evolve. Get so clear that if someone woke you up at 3 a.m. and asked, what are you creating in your life? You could answer without hesitation, without doubt, and with a fire behind your eyes. That's clarity. That's the beginning. That's the moment the universe finally hears you. And that's the moment manifestation truly begins. If you truly want to manifest anything meaningful, you have to understand one thing. You don't get what you wish for, you get what you are, your identity, your beliefs, your standards, your self-image, the way you see the world. This is the engine behind everything you attract and everything you create. Most people never get what they want because they're trying to manifest from the wrong version of themselves. They say they want abundance, but they still see themselves as someone who struggles. They say they want confidence, but they still act like someone who doubts. They say they want love, but deep down they don't feel worthy of it. You can't plant seeds of greatness in soil that's filled with self-limitation and expect miracles. Manifestation isn't magic, it's alignment. It's identity meeting intention. The truth is every result in your life right now, good or bad, reflects the identity you've been living from, and that's not something to judge. It's something to become conscious of. Because once you become aware of it, you can change it, you can upgrade it, you can step into the version of you that matches the life you want instead of the life you've settled for. That's the real work. That's the transformation. Think about a thermostat in a room. If the temperature drops below the setting, the heat kicks on. If it gets too high, the air conditioning activates. Your identity works the same way. You can achieve something for a moment, lose weight, increase your income, meet someone amazing, but if it doesn't match your internal setting, you'll sabotage it, minimize it, or drift back to what's familiar, not because you're broken, because your identity is designed to keep you consistent, not fulfilled. So if you want a new life, you must set a new internal temperature. You must decide who you're going to be, then condition yourself until that identity becomes your default. Start asking better questions. Who would I be if I already had what I want? How would I think? How would I speak? How would I walk into a room? What decisions would I make? What would I tolerate? What would I no longer tolerate? When you begin living as that version of yourself, even before the evidence appears, you shift the entire frequency of your life. Suddenly, you're not hoping for change. You're embodying it. This is where most people get stuck. They wait for the external world to change before they change internally. They wait for proof before they believe. But manifestation doesn't work like that. Life responds to your identity first. When you elevate who you are, Your circumstances rise to meet you. When you settle for less, your circumstances shrink to match you. You are always creating from the inside out. And here's the thing, upgrading your identity isn't about pretending. It's not about faking confidence or forcing positivity. It's about remembering the strength, the intelligence, the resilience, the power that's already inside you but has been buried under years of doubt and conditioning. The version of you who can receive what you want already exists. Your job is to invite that version forward, to practice it, to step into it again and again until it becomes who you naturally are. You shift your identity every time you keep a promise to yourself. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, every time you break a pattern you once thought controlled you, every time you say, this is not who I am anymore, and act accordingly. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen with consistency. And the moment your identity aligns with your vision, manifestation no longer feels like effort. It feels inevitable. Become the person who can hold what you're asking for, because once you do, what you want has no choice but to move towards you. If you want to manifest anything in your life, you have to understand the role your emotions play in creation. Your emotions aren't just reactions. They're signals, they're frequencies. They're the energetic language the universe responds to. Most people think manifestation is purely about thought. If I think positively, I'll attract positive things. But thoughts alone don't create reality. It's the emotion behind the thought that gives it power. Emotion is what imprints the vision into your nervous system. Emotion is what fuels action. Emotion is what pulls opportunities toward you. If your thoughts are saying one thing, but your emotions are broadcasting the opposite, you create resistance instead of momentum. So the question becomes, what are you feeling on a consistent basis? Because that's what you're transmitting. If you want abundance, but you constantly feel fear around money, you're sending a signal of scarcity. If you want love, but you live in a state of defensiveness or distrust, you're sending a signal that pushes love away. If you want success, but you feel unworthy or overwhelmed, you're signaling that you're not ready to receive it. You attract in harmony with your dominant emotional state, not your wishes, not your hopes, not the words you say out loud. Your emotional frequency is always the truth of your manifestation power. This is why you must learn to generate the emotion of your desired reality before it arrives. You must feel what it would feel like to already have it, to already be living it, to already be embodying that version of yourself. When you step into that emotional state, even for moments at a time, you're aligning yourself with the future you're trying to create. And that alignment is everything. It collapses down. It disrupts fear. It amplifies clarity. You're no longer reaching from a place of lack. You're acting from a place of ownership and certainty. Some people hear this and think emotions are something that just happen to them. But you can train your emotions. You can shape your state. You can condition your nervous system to operate at the frequency that matches your vision. Breath, movement, focus. These are tools that can shift your emotional state instantly. Think about a moment in your life when you felt unstoppable, certain, powerful. That memory is not gone. That state is not gone. It's available to you right now if you choose to access it. The problem is most people access the emotions of their past failures more often than they access the emotions of their past victories. Your emotional state becomes your magnetic field. When you live in the emotion of gratitude, you attract more to be grateful for. When you live in excitement or certainty, life starts reorganizing itself around that certainty. When you choose joy, even in small ways, you open the door for more experiences that match that joy. You're constantly tuning yourself. You're constantly broadcasting a signal. And that signal is constantly being responded to. The key is consistency. It's not about feeling aligned for 5 minutes and then going back to anxiety the rest of the day. It's about raising your emotional baseline. It's about making elevated emotions your new normal. When you practice the emotional state of your future every day, even for short periods, your mind begins to believe it's already real. And once your mind believes, your actions follow, your habits follow, your decisions follow. That's when your life starts shifting faster than you expect. You don't wait for the manifestation to feel good. You feel good so the manifestation can come. If you're serious about manifesting what you want, you have to understand this truth. Nothing moves until you move. The universe responds to energy, not idle wishes. You can visualize, affirm, meditate, journal. Those things are powerful. But without action, they're incomplete. Manifestation isn't about sitting and waiting for life to deliver your dreams to your doorstep. It's about creating momentum. It's about stepping into the world with intention, with courage, with conviction. Action is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It's the force that turns a thought into an outcome. Most people hesitate because they're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the guarantee that everything will work out. But perfection is just another form of procrastination. Clarity comes from action, not the other way around. You don't have to know every step. You only need the next one. When you take that next step, even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable, you set a chain reaction into motion. Opportunities that were invisible start to show up. People who can help you suddenly cross your path. Ideas that never occurred to you before begin to surface. But none of that happens until you choose movement. There's a certain power that comes from acting before you feel ready. It sends a message to yourself and to life. I'm serious about this. I'm invested. I'm committed. And commitment is magnetic. When you move, you create a frequency that says you expect results. You're not hoping. You're not wishing. You're participating. You're co-creating. And life responds to that. But let me be clear, this isn't about reckless hustle or forcing things. It's about aligned action, action that's rooted in your vision, your clarity, your identity. When your actions match the person you're becoming, every step counts. Every conversation, every decision, every habit becomes part of the manifestation process. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Consistency beats intensity every time. Small steps taken daily will outperform massive action taken once a year. And yes, action requires courage. It requires stepping into uncertainty. It requires facing the discomfort of growth. But that discomfort is a sign that you're expanding into the life you're meant to live. If everything feels easy, it means you're staying inside the boundaries of who you've always been. Manifestation demands that you stretch beyond those boundaries. It demands that you face resistance and move anyway. Because every time you push through that resistance, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you once believed. Think about the people you admire, the ones who live lives of fulfillment and abundance. Every single one of them took action long before their circumstances were ideal. They acted on instinct, on passion, on intuition. They didn't wait for certainty. They created certainty through action. That's what separates dreamers from achievers. There's also something important to understand. Action builds belief. You don't take action because you're confident. You become confident because you take action. Momentum creates motivation. Progress generates passion. Each step forward reinforces the identity you're stepping into. And once you start seeing the smallest signs of progress, you realize you're capable of far more than you imagined. So don't sit back and wait for the universe to knock on your door. Knock first, move first, lead first. The moment you take aligned action, even the smallest step, you shift the entire energy of your life. And that's when manifestation accelerates in ways you never expected. If you want to manifest at the highest level, you have to be willing to look at the invisible forces that are shaping your life. Because it's not the dream that's hard to achieve, it's the internal blocks standing between you and that dream. Most people don't fail because they're incapable, they fail because they're carrying hidden beliefs, old wounds, fears, and limitations that quietly sabotage their progress. You can do all the right things externally, but if your internal world is misaligned, it's like driving with the parking brake on. You move, but not far. You push, but not powerfully. Manifestation begins accelerating the moment you release what's been weighing you down. These blocks show up in many forms. For some people, it's doubt. This constant whisper that says, what if it doesn't work? What if I'm not good enough? For others, it's fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of success. Some carry guilt from the past or stories about what they deserve. Some grew up in environments that taught them to shrink themselves, to avoid risk, to settle. These stories don't shout, they whisper. They live inside your habits, your reactions, your hesitation, your excuses. And the truth is, you cannot manifest from a conflicting state. You cannot move forward while dragging the weight of old programming behind you. So the first step is awareness. You can't change what you refuse to acknowledge. Ask yourself, what patterns keep repeating in my life? What do I pull back from just when things start to improve? Where do I say I want something, but act in ways that contradict that desire? Your patterns reveal your blocks. They're the compass leading you to the exact areas you need to free yourself from. Once you recognize the block, don't judge it. Don't label yourself as broken or weak. These blocks were created to protect you at some point. They were survival mechanisms, emotional shields, coping strategies. But what once kept you safe is now keeping you stuck. You outgrew those limitations, but they stayed with you, and now it's time to let them go. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring them. It means challenging them. It means examining the belief beneath the fear, questioning whether it's the truth or just a story you've lived with for too long. When you challenge a limiting belief, you weaken its hold. When you act in opposition to it, you break the pattern. When you replace it with a new, empowering belief, you realign your identity with your vision. This is the internal recalibration that manifestation requires. And make no mistake, letting go is an emotional process. It requires forgiveness, compassion, and honesty with yourself. Sometimes you have to forgive a past version of you for decisions made in survival. Sometimes you have to forgive someone else who shaped a limiting narrative in you. Sometimes you have to forgive life itself for the pain that created your fear. Forgiveness isn't about excusing what happened, it's about releasing its control over you. Every time you release a block, your energy rises, your clarity sharpens, your self-belief strengthens. You stop second-guessing, you stop hesitating, you stop self-sabotaging right when things start improving. Suddenly, the things you've been trying to manifest no longer feel far away, they feel accessible, they feel possible, they feel aligned. Because manifestation doesn't happen the moment you desire something, it happens the moment you remove what's been preventing it from arriving. And that's when your life finally opens to receive what's already meant for you. There comes a moment in every manifestation journey where you've done everything you can. You've gotten clear on what you want. You've aligned your identity. You've elevated your emotions. You've taken decisive action. You've removed the internal blocks. And now the final rule steps in. You must trust the process. This is the place that tests people the most because trust requires surrender. It requires patience. It requires letting go of the need to control every detail, every timeline, every outcome. And for a lot of people, that's uncomfortable. But this is where the real magic happens. You see, There's a difference between desire and desperation. Desire is powerful, desperation is resistance. When you want something so badly that you cling to it, chase it, stress over it, check on it every hour, wonder when it's coming, try to force it into existence, you're actually pushing it away because that energy is rooted in fear. Fear of not having it, fear of losing it, fear of being disappointed. Manifestation doesn't align with fear. It aligns with certainty. It aligns with calm confidence. It aligns with the energy that says, I've done my part, I know it's coming. I trust the unfolding. Trust does not mean being passive. It means being grounded. It means knowing the difference between your role and life's role. Your role is alignment, intention, emotion, action. Life's role is timing, connection, opportunity, orchestration. When you try to control life's role, you create stress. When you handle your role and trust life to handle its part, you create flow. There's a natural rhythm to manifestation. Sometimes things happen instantly. Sometimes things take time because other pieces need to fall into place. Your growth, someone else's growth, the right circumstances, the aligned moment. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it isn't happening. Some of the biggest breakthroughs of your life will show up long after you stopped obsessing and started trusting. Think about a seed. You plant it, you water it, you give it sunlight, but you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. If you did, you'd kill it. You trust the process, you trust the soil, you trust the timing, and eventually it breaks through. Your dreams work the same way. You plant them through intention. You water them with your emotions and your actions, but you must give them space to grow. Constant doubt is like digging up the seed. It interrupts the process. Most people give up right before the breakthrough because they mistake silence for failure. They think nothing's happening. But the truth is, everything is happening, just not where you can see it. There are doors being prepared, conversations unfolding, opportunities aligning, but they won't appear if you're vibrating in frustration, fear, or impatience. Trust restores your power. Trust keeps you aligned. Trust keeps the channel open. Trust also means letting go of the need for things to happen in the exact way you pictured. Sometimes life has something better, something bigger, something more aligned. And if you're too attached to a specific path, you'll miss the miracle unfolding on the one right beside it. Trust means staying open, staying flexible, staying willing to adjust without losing sight of your vision. This is the moment where you breathe, where you allow, where you stop forcing and start receiving, because receiving is just as much a skill as action. And most people never learn it. Manifestation is co-creation, your intention, your action, life's timing. When those three are in harmony, the result is inevitable. You've done your part. Now trust the unfolding.